Good morning. Here we are, adjusting myself. Here we are at this Libra full moon. Quite a funny one, quite a heavy one. I think. I don't know if you've been feeling that, but it's not the lightest energy at the moment. It's very it's pushing us, and it's very intense, very heavy. Because we are simply shifting so much stuff right now. You know, the water's just washing away everything that we don't need, everything that doesn't resonate with us. And this Libra pink full moon is a part of it. It's interesting, a lot of articles have been popping up with sort of, mainstream media and so on a much more spiritual side of the full moon. You know, often it's about how it looks or so, but there seems to be a lot more coming through about the spiritual aspect of it. And it's lovely to see that spirituality is gaining a foothold within sort of mainstream life. Because spirituality is mainstream life. We are spiritual beings. We are living a spiritual life through a 3D body, and it doesn't make it a 3D life, it makes it a spiritual life. We just happen to be here in this shape or form. So, you know, it's wonderful to see that the spirituality is just beginning to shine through in every area of our lives. So, this Libra full moon. Libra is our experience with Libra. And it's quite funny. They always laugh at Librans and saying, if you give them a choice of a couple of things, they just stop. You know, Librans just stop and go, I don't know, I'm completely caught. Because it has, you know, these two sides, the two sides of the scales. And Libra can't make up its mind which way to go. That if they do go, they go very heavily one side. And then, of course, you can tip back on the scales and go very heavily the other side. So it's really challenging in Libra to maintain any kind of balance within ourselves. And as I wrote, this full moon is about us finding peace and balance within ourselves. You know, finding peace between living in this 3D world and being a higher dimensional being, having a soul. And as we have, you know, seen throughout history, it's been very much either you go the scientific route or you go the spiritual route, and there never seemed to have been a crossover. And so we've had these two separate sides, these two separate aspects, almost pulling society apart. You couldn't seem to be both. And Libra's highlighting this disparity within ourselves now. You know, what is the head and what is the heart? Where is the masculine and feminine within? The mother, the father. And it can be very difficult for us, very challenging for us to come back into balance and to find that immense sense of peace. I mean, just today, you know, with this Libran full moon, I have gone from feeling very heavy, very intense, very almost being crushed by this energy. And then the next moment, I feel as light as a feather, full of joy, full of light. And, you know, of course, we swing back again. So trying to find this sense of balance and peace at this time is very difficult. But as I say, it is highlighting within us this need for us to find and to live a life of balance and peace. You know, everything between work life and home life, between my needs and the needs of others. You know, if we look at our whole lives, everything is out of balance. We seem to exist in one sphere, and then we exist in another, and there seems to be no correlation between these two. It's very interesting. I was watching a show called Severance. I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's the idea is that your outer life and your work life are completely and utterly separate. something's done in the brain so that they don't remember, and they literally become two distinct personalities. But what's so interesting is that there becomes a bleed between these two lives, just showing us that we can't completely and utterly separate the two aspects of ourselves. We can't become just a physical being. We can't be just a spiritual being. We are everything. We are this beautiful mix of the physical, spiritual, the emotional, mental. It is all there within us. And it is just about, if you imagine a plate, I'm being shown a plate, those, that image where they go, this is how much protein you need, this is how much carbs, and so on. And they're showing me this, that the plate needs to be full of a mix of aspects. There has to be a little bit of everything on this plate. And this is our life. We want to have little aspects, a mix, a beautiful mix of all the aspects of ourselves, not denying one, but actually being a beautiful blend of all the energies, all the aspects of ourselves, a synergy of everything that we are. So I was writing a little bit earlier just about what was coming up as I sat here and thought about this film and felt into it. And the first thing that really came up in trying to create this beautiful blend, this beautiful piece, is that we need to be a friend to ourselves. We have been such an enemy. We have punished ourselves. We have criticized, because we're constantly in life being given an image, a monument that we should look up to and say, well, this is what we aspire to. This is the person that we need to be in order to be the best person for society, to be the most spiritual. But we'll never actually reach that point. The goals, the aspirations that we're given, we'll never get there because we're not supposed to. We don't have to. We are instead supposed to just live the journey that we are here to live. So the very first thing is to just be a kind friend, to recognize in ourselves that we are always enough, and that aspiring to be something that is a myth, that is, fake, we'll never get there. So we need to stop trying. And once we let go of that idea that we have to be perfect, we can actually come back and begin to be kind to ourselves and to love who we are. So that was the first thing that came up, was just kindness. And then along with that, the words acceptance, understanding and patience. Accepting who we are. Loving ourselves with patience, giving ourselves the time and the space to be who we are. And if you have a day when you are out there and you are showing the world who you are and your light is shining bright, it's wonderful. But then if the next day you need to hunker down, you need to hide in a corner and just say, no, not today. Again, it's about accepting that. Saying, this is who I am today. I can't be anyone different. We can only be who we are. I know there's this great thing about think positive. And yes, thinking positive is beautiful. But it only works if we can really and truly find that energy. When we force ourselves to be positive, we can't do it. It's like going to a friend who's depressed and saying, oh, come on, cheer up. And you can take them out and you can show them a funny movie and you can, feed them chocolate, but it doesn't take away from how they really feel. So we need to be accepting of who we are in each moment, because that is what a kind friend would be. They would sit there and simply listen. And when we need to be listened to, listen. Feel into your heart and listen and accept yourself for who you are in that moment, because it's not wrong. We are being battered by intense energies. We are clearing to a degree that is so phenomenal. We are facing unbelievable challenges within our life, not just energetically, but physically too. So we need that time to accept that we're not perfect and we don't have to be. But also looking back in our lives and thinking, well, what is not in balance? Where could I actually make a change within my life? Do I spend too much time being in isolation? Do I not spend enough time meditating? How much energy do I spend berating myself, hating myself? Having a look at our lives and wondering where we could achieve more balance, where we could be kinder to ourselves. I use the word achieve, it doesn't feel right. Where we could simply be kinder to ourselves and more loving. So much of this world, they want us to fight. And we end up fighting ourselves. You go through the school system and you are taught that the head is the bit that must be listened to, because this is where you calculate your sums and this is where you learn a new language. But we don't. We also learn in our heart. I play piano, and there is a big difference between when I sit down and I play technically. It may be more correct. I may make less mistakes, but it is when I bring my heart in, and it is when I play from my heart, that's when the beauty comes. That's when it starts sounding like music, as though a soul is expressing itself, as opposed to a machine doing this. And this is what I want to come back to, is recognizing that the soul, that the heart is not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. It is experiencing, it is growing and loving and living. And if we try and strive always for perfection, we live from the heart. It's how many people speak a language better when they are excited, when they've had a couple of drinks, because they relax and they just speak from a place that isn't the head that worries about whether they've got the grammar correct. That just stops us from talking. We can always understand each other, especially when we speak from energy, from enjoyment and from passion. So there must be this beautiful balance. But I was also told this morning, there is nothing wrong with you. And that felt so important. Because, again, that striving for perfection, the statue that we're supposed to look up to, that is perfect. And we are therefore wrong. And my guide said, no, there is nothing wrong with you. And I say this now to you from my guides, there is nothing wrong with you. You are perfect, just as you are, and tomorrow you will be equally perfect, and the day after. You don't need to keep striving to be more perfect, just be you. Listen to your heart, listen to your head, be you. What else did I write? Oh yes, then they started talking about the family and the role of the mother and the father. And they said it is time for us to give ourselves the unconditional love that perhaps we didn't get from our family. But our universe loves us unconditionally. Mother Gaia loves us unconditionally. And perhaps if we can't find it for ourselves, perhaps we can open ourselves up and invite the universe and invite Gaia in to love us unconditionally. And feel their love and know what it is, even for a moment, to be loved unconditionally. To be loved by the masculine and the feminine. And again, to recognize inside of us and to love within us the masculine and the feminine. Because they reside in all of us, both parts, both energies. And I know that when we were growing up, perhaps we had a bad relationship with one parent, or hopefully not both. But what we do is we reject then one side. So if you had a bad father relationship, we reject the masculine within us because it reminds us of that bad relationship. Or we reject the mother because she didn't care for us in the way that we wanted. And so we become more masculine and we reject that feminine side. But balance requires us to acknowledge both within us, to heal both within us, to sense the balance that both are needed. You know, we may not like perhaps the way our father treated us. You know, we look back and I think, oh, my mother was, you know, mother is the very loving, the very kind, and my father was the strict. You know, you cannot do this, you will not do this because. And yes, that you know, had an effect of me having to examine my masculine side, having to acknowledge where I am like my father. But in order to really feel powerful within myself, in order to really acknowledge all parts of me, this is the only way I'm going to become whole. So I need to look back and to heal the pain, to heal what was missing within me, within my childhood. And we can all do this. And when we do it, we find an immense peace. We once again find that balance within ourselves. So this is why I say, look at what is out of balance in your life. Do you spend too much time at work and not enough relaxing? It could be as simple as that. But we need to reach that point of balance. It's about finding the balance also between the head and the heart. The head can be strict and the heart so loving. But then sometimes we go into the heart and we assume that the heart will simply allow us to do nothing. You know, and I really mean sort of do nothing. You know, when we can become so lazy. We become lazy out of fear. We become lazy because the world is scary. And at that point, perhaps we need our head to say, come on, you can do this. The universe is encouraging us to step out. But then we hide in the heart and we go, no, I can't come out. I'm going to stay in here in my comfort. But as light workers, we need to go into the places that challenge us. Because these are the places where our light has to shine. And if we simply reside within the light, within the heart, because, it loves me unconditionally, we won't be doing our work. We won't be helping the people that we need to reach. So we want the head and the heart to work together to communicate so that we really know and feel where we are going, where we are intended to go. We can't ignore one or the other. But now, as we try to find the balance, it is time to give yourself all that you perhaps lacked in life. You can do it. We can all do it. You know, we can either sit in our pain and say, well, when I was young, I didn't get the support I needed. We can sit and say, I never received the instruction that I needed. We can do it now. You know, how many people will say, I failed an A level, but I'm going to do it now that I'm 40. They didn't go to university when they were 18, so they go when they're 50. And we're quite happy to accept that side of ourselves. We're quite happy to allow our brain to grow as we get older, so why not the spirit? Why do we ever say it's too late to grow? Too late to heal? You know, people say, I've been angry all my life. I couldn't possibly change now. You can. Everything can be changed. It's never, ever too late. It's never too late to create the dreams that you want. But when we spend all that time fighting ourselves, we won't get there. Start being your best friend. Being kind, truly, truly kind. And you know what the best friend does? The best friend is always forgiving. If you say you're going to be kind to yourself and the next moment you criticize, be the best friend, the one who says it's okay. It's all right to fall. We know you can get up again. We know that life is tough, but you're working towards it, and this is the most beautiful thing in the world. Look at what you have done, not what you haven't. And the most beautiful thing is that as we find this sense of balance and peace within ourselves, think about what it does to your relationship with others. You're no longer looking at them through your eyes of pain. You're no longer seeing, what can they give me? What can they do for me that heals the hurt within me, that will ease that pain inside of me, because that is not their job. Their job is to heal their own pain, to find their own balance, and yet we use people around us to make us feel better. It's not what they're here for. They're not here to fill the missing part of your life. Do that in yourself. And then you will have relationships that blossom. They will improve in all ways, because you will no longer treat the relationship as the missing piece of your life. So yes, finding this peace in ourselves is so important. You are a jigsaw, and you can complete this jigsaw for yourself. You don't need someone else to do it for you. You are your own missing piece. It is carried in here. You just need to connect with it. Now, I had a look at some oracle cards as well. Time for that on our journey. And this time I took them from, inside the box, The Whispers of the Ocean. Because in the ocean are all states. In the water, all states exist. It freezes, it boils, it flows, it stagnates. It is everything. Water represents everything on the journey. And the first card that came up was this: Adrift in the Shallow Water. And this card speaks about being patient with ourselves, kind, about connecting with our soul, for the soul learning. What can we take from our soul? What is our soul trying to tell us right now that we need? If you listen, you will hear it. But you have to stop and listen, and perhaps you will see it. Your soul will display it to you outside, and you will see in a situation outside of yourself what it is that you need. All you have to do is be open to it, be open to the learning, be open to the people and the situations around you who are bringing you the wisdom and the guidance, the soul learning that you need. And the second card is Leaping Through the Air. This one again, it speaks about our inner guidance. It speaks about listening to that inner guidance, so that when we step forward, when we use our intention, we're using it for where we actually want to go, for where we actually need to go. You know, I hear so many people say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And then they get it and you go, did it make you happy? No, not really. Why do that? Why not instead listen to the soul and then use that intention, use what your soul has told you in order to create what it is that will actually bring you peace, that will actually help you. Why bring something in just for the sake of it? Proving to yourself what you can do. It doesn't matter. The soul is asking for you to listen. And out of that arises your pathway, your intention. And it is when we combine what it is that the soul knows it wants with our intention, we can create miracles. But don't try to stay on a path that is not yours. You know, you get into a company and you start at the lowest level and you work and everyone says how good you are at it. And next thing you know, you're the chief executive of this company and you were never happy. You did it because you could, not because you wanted to. Life's not about doing what we can do. Life is about doing what is right, what feels right within. And then the last card is empower yourself. Beautiful card. Empower yourself. Stop trying to please everybody else, because that is not the way to peace. Sure, it can feel nice in the moment, and we all love doing things for other people. It feels good. But if you live a life that is based on someone else's ideas of who you are, you're not ever going to find that real peace inside of yourself, the real balance that you're trying to achieve. It's never going to come, because you weren't put here just to please other people. I knew someone years ago, and they always, I'd ask them, I said, what do you want? And they'd always say, it's not about what I want. I'm here to serve. And yes, a very admirable thing. But if you completely and utterly ignore everything that your heart is trying to tell you, you're not actually going to resonate love out into the world. You're not really going to bring joy to other people, because you'll never feel it in yourself. If your entire world is based around how can I serve other people, and there's always somebody who'll say, yeah, of course you can serve me. They'll take advantage. When we find that beautiful peace inside of ourselves, then when we serve others, it is done from a place of love. It's done from a place of joy. And again, Libra is asking us to find this balance between being selfish, I hate that word, but I'm going to use it, and giving to others. And there has to be time of looking after ourselves. There has to be time of treasuring, honouring and valuing what it is that we feel before we can go out and help other people. Because I tried it. I tried it years ago. When I first learnt Reiki, I thought, I'm going to go out, I'm going to heal everybody. And I gave and I gave and I gave. And then I started crying, and I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop, because I never had turned around to myself, excuse me, and said, what do I need? What are my needs here? I just assumed that I could continue giving to everybody else without any kind of thanks from them, any kind of balance, and it didn't work. I became the worst healer, because I didn't want to give anymore. But when I came back in and I found that balance within myself and knew that I needed to accept time and peace and love and healing for myself, then I could give much more to others. You can't just ignore your own needs. It doesn't work. Nothing works like that. There's got to be balance in all things. And this is why looking after ourselves, our inner world, it helps our outer world. Why, when we feel at peace in ourselves, we find peace in our relationships, and we stop trying to make somebody into something that we want them to be, which is just the mirror of what we need. That's all it is. Peace. Now I can feel light language is coming through. I'm just going to let it go. Muratas bashik me watamoj no komasha Sier medarja varus huto jokia. Samediana tatsepe orabajor tajna kasi. Puto. Bakia maratorni sia way dara maria warasia. Kurbatasia. Shene koramazana. Tizera kash. Kayator masha. Nito sora narabatarji. Inkiana kasi anataramayi nakashi waratasa. Murabala jora tasa sanya warakayike watima. Muradazna salterjiki. Kurdazna. Messinia rabatarjiki wa yudorajo toja sata maratsia. Eki moradasna ka arata sasparidarjernikishia. Amajinja sera matarsua sona ka arata sichikoba ka matarsimisia. Madadaz norma tesia ko ante shika mashe ya orata tasiba. Nyatasi betia smasia patarmeshika mashia. Nyatasima siara borojono koshio. Okarna tasi, metarmadainya iar tatasi, mekiana kasia tatajora. Amasiara tasi karan tatajna karabatarashi, enkianuksura katatokorasa, medicinia, kiada, gachka paradarvajakarasi karavadi nudura tashi. Anasira, Madena Karantokosho, Sungara Matashi, Kungara Matashi, Kuravate Timate, Ia Mata Paratorashunko, Eoko Orakadashina, Simiatarasi. Masi, Tarajan Gorjora, Tajamurata Dajna, Eshikada Matarashi, and Giana Major and Tasosa, Sia, and the Tataznia or Batashike, Eora Tatashika, I Matarashika, Pasicata, Motora Pakia, Ankugar, a Duzundukushia, and Duna Baratashi. Hunka arabatisia tamarashi. Hanka ijimo kora tasi. Baiti aparanapashi. Kianda kasha arabto shokorasi. Namarazembara tatashika zoko arakata parjini kia. Marataz no kora matasi. Liaku arakashi. Baya tazabara tatashi kora. Niazora matasi. Bayita takajia kora kamarjika tajia oratashi. Mora tazazamara. E pio kora tasi, and avarembora takashi. More pusha, a wara batorjo, ora patasho, sora tasa ayemeti, barateshi, ankia morodora bajora batashi, carabasi, wainia tarabasi, motorbazora tasi, keana kashi, porbatasho. So we really have to recognize our soul. Barujunto koshura patashi, bia batashi, biana tabasi, biana barabashi kun mashara. Ajinta zira batarjinia, e parmokojora tasia dara, sior batashi, kiania zara batashi, maratotos, ormatseia tabai oroko, oraza. Murabatashi onoka, orbata, sioro. Etina, mera patorjo cora, sin she coramasa, ijora patarshi, kiomorajeke, Shunasa, mete arapataj nare, tate sisiki kiomoraka, idara jumbosho, paradonno shokorasa, e jindia arapatasi, yeke. Maayete hazayataj nakajnakaya paratajasa, adarinakai, ortashiki, shormozo, shormatojo, sorata, orabatajo, zoza bayaya, orabatarajesia, ormatasi, orapatoza, zijunuko, Junior Jorabadajasi, Shikoratash, Shina Magia, Tinia Joradajina Kazia, and Yomorabadaja Badabezi Murbatashi, Sijinyar Batashi, Jormatashi, Orbataji, Miadama Daramadayinekiwa. We have to weave together all the parts of ourselves to become a coherent and beautiful whole, and in that way the light will flow into all the parts of our lives. Urabasi, urabatarjiki, ojamasa, arabataj, niaramateshi, inkamorotaznate, si warabadia, mediani martiara, patademia tarpachito, kumushkesia, uratezinio, uratignare, Mekemurkata jora tazabara tazarakia, maradeni jor meshia, maenia sara patorosho, encoratasi, mejuniaka imotajo, Nazazima arabatashin koshe. Andiarosho. Arionia tarajonia karauscora. Maderno koshe. Majinia via. Mederjinia basia. Dejunu kejo. Jiniosi. Murabatachico. Ajo arabadajaniasa. Ajadaio aramasi. Ajunikoja. Zapatainia via motage. Oniestora. Ajadadaji mora. Jormata. Rora besisi makia. Dejonoto dojinia kasi. Jinjo payar. Eya tamadi. Paramoro wadeora. Kiwa. Pedia. Mijada sia. Nimora darjora kisi. Shini ormasiarab. Eyarabadara. Ni adumoroja. Arikiasu. Kiazu. Kuabara nadijinaja. Najora matashi. Shimurasa. Ayamara. Iyabaraganya kaorakaishke. Yasora matasia parati. Ojora sisi omera. Ian mataja. Iora masi. Unkaje darsi. Bora shia shear mataja. Nya orabazia. Sia de oraji. Koshakiaza. Adia marakarakia. Shenia orataji. Iyo. Yamorashi. Shinya marazia. Nazio arshi. Shura te si. Maradajina kaya. Edarazim. Muratasi. Nezora nadaja kasia. Mari deji. Anyasera. Murata da di darmatashi. Ayengasia. Moratasa. Etish kayatasi. Kiyatashi. Shinjiatorshasa. Shamaratasi. Ankuratasama. Ayarabatashika. Siorataza. Narabati. Nyotorosho. Go adisima. Natasi. Modarazi neke. Oratasiake. Murapataja aikin musura. Niasekia. Maretiuso koratasa. So we have to allow this light to just weave through this beautiful, soft, loving, pink light of this moon to really weave its way through us and to stop the self-hatred, to stop thinking that we are worthy of punishment. We're not, we never have been, we never will be. To find within ourselves that immensely deep knowledge that you are loved, that there is love here for you, for every aspect of you, to open the door to all those parts of ourselves that we have kept hidden, that we have kept in the darkness, thinking that those parts did not deserve to be loved. Those parts, more than anything, deserve to be loved, because they are the parts that keep drawing us back and taking us out of balance. It is the pain that when it is locked away, when it is hidden away, that keeps drawing us back. And it is time to soften to all the places where we believe we have sinned, and to allow that beautiful love to enter in, so that we can look at ourselves, at our house, and go into every single room, every part, the back of every closet, everywhere, to know that there is nothing in us that is shameful. And when we can accept that love, the love of the universe, of Gaia, of our own soul, when we can take that love and we can let it into all those dark places, then we will never fall out of balance again, because then we will be complete. then we will be at peace. And when we spend time with others, we will bring to them the message that there is nothing in them that needs hiding. We will be the true light of acceptance that this world needs us to be. We won't be up there on a pedestal. We'll be down here with everybody else, showing them that being us, with everything that we are, is the right way to be, the only way to be. And that is the message that they wanted to come through. And I hope that it will help you, and I hope that you will step out as the full, beautiful, incredible light being that you are, without shame, without guilt, just being totally who you are, because you're perfect. Thank you for being here with me. You make it worthwhile. I look forward to seeing you again soon. In the meantime, go in love and light.